The corrupt colleges for medical professionals across our country are working to take away your privacy and the confidentiality of your relationship with your doctor. A number of doctors and nurses in Canada have lost their jobs because they stood by their medical ethics and refused to withhold information from their patients or prescribe treatments they believed to be dangerous. Health Canada is working toward denying us all access to supplements and natural healthcare products. Bill 36 in British Columbia has introduced levels of medical tyranny unlike anything the world has seen since communist Russia. In short, the globalists and the traitorous elements within our own governments and institutions are working to destroy our healthcare system and leave us with being consumers of big pharma products as our only option. But there are alternatives. Dr. Roshane Killian was one of the first to lose her job because she refused to participate in medical tyranny. She responded by starting on a long journey to provide alternative health care through a system, a private membership association that is not under the authority of the government or the colleges. In the process, she and her husband sold their house to finance their efforts and are now living in a motorhome. On June 15th, she launched K Wellness Canada, a private membership association which provides its members with access to health counseling. In addition, in future phases of K Wellness, Dr. Killian will also be able to provide patients with access to traditional medical treatments. Dr. Killian joins me today to discuss her vision for healthcare in Canada, the lawsuit against her by the CPSO for refusing to violate her patients' privacy, and give some advice on how we can all protect ourselves against an increasingly toxic environment. Roshane, it is an actual pleasure to have you back on the show.
Thank you, Will. It is a pleasure for myself as well. And I remember the last time I was here, I promised that I will come back when I've got something new to say, and I definitely have something new to say this time.
And indeed you do. I'm very excited to find out that you have launched K Wellness. I know this is something you've been working on for a long time, fundraising, building, getting everything going, and I believe that your launch was June
15th.
June 15th, yes. So yes. Just a couple of weeks ago. So before we get into talking about K Wellness, though, people who have seen my previous interviews with you, people who know your story, and for those of you who don't, I gave a brief summary in my introduction, but Dr. Killian was one of the very first who stood up against the medical tyranny. And there's a lawsuit now that she's dealing with in regards to that has to do with the confidentiality of her patients. So before we get into K Wellness, Roshane, would you please give our audience just a brief rundown of that lawsuit and where it's at right now?
Absolutely. Thank you, Will. Yes, after the previous interviews that we did, basically it started when the college took me to court to compel me to be governable, because the allegation was that I was ungovernable. And they've been trying since, I think, December of 2021 to get me to provide them with all of my medical charts of all of the patients that I either wrote an exemption for, wrote a prescription for ivermectin, or even a exemption for testing, any of those. Basically, the whole little COVID package. They wanted every single chart of that. And from the beginning, we've been saying we would love to cooperate. That's where our idea is not there to be a rebel. We're loving to cooperate. But the idea was that if we get the permission from our patients, then absolutely we'll open up the charts. We did not get one single permission from one of our patients because they didn't want their charts released. And that's been going on since December of 2021 in the court system. We are actually at this stage at the last part. If we lose the appeal, we are going to the Supreme Court with this case. So I think we kind of realized from the beginning, especially my husband, that was basically my legal advisor from the start. We knew the importance of this case to be very, very telling in what Canadian law becomes with regards to privacy and confidentiality when it comes to patients. And the story has kind of told itself. I won't go into details on the court case itself, but in the process, the college did end up suspending my license. And I don't remember exactly if our interview was before or after that. But so I've been without my license for almost 2 years now, temporarily suspended, as they call it. What? So that challenge has been very interesting. But a lot of times with challenges, it basically just forces you to pushed forward to come up with creative solutions as well. So,
and I just want to clarify, you went to your patients, some 30 patients, I believe it was. You asked for their permission to release those records. Everyone said no, which of course is their absolute right. And the college turned around and said, well, we don't care if they said no. But basically, we said, we don't care about their right to privacy. Give us their records.
Yep.
When you didn't,
if you go and
they suspended your license.
Exactly. So what came out in the courts, and I think maybe this is the silver lining, they basically told us exactly how they feel about privacy and charting, where before it was just a concept and allegation if you thought that there was no privacy, but they did come out and say, the college in the court documents, the patients, and this was confirmed by judges in the court system, the patients have no expectation of privacy when it comes to their medical charts, which I don't know if Canadians realize how serious this is, but it just gives us the opportunity to realize this is in the public health system. In the public health system, you don't have any expectation of privacy and confidentiality when it comes to your medical charts. It's a very important concept to understand, Will, and I don't know if people realize the implications of this, where because my husband always speaks about the principle of consequentialism, which means that if a decision is made, what is the implications down the road? The implications of this is, first off, Canadians have no privacy. But what is the end result of that is? The end result is that there's no trust anymore trust going to be between patients and physicians. Patients are not really going to be truthful about their medical conditions because they're afraid that anything that's being said to that physician can be opened up. It can be provided to either employers or to the government, whoever is asking for these charts, that there's no reason for them to be forthcoming with every single thing that they've been forthcoming for before. Because it's such a sacred relationship, it's the same as going to a priest. You'll say things to a priest because you know it's going to be confidential. Same thing with your family physician. If that relationship is no longer sacred, what is happening to the medical industry where patients were, I don't know if they really would see a reason to have discussions with their family physician anymore.
Right. And I think we should make it clear to our viewers, your husband's a lawyer. So he absolutely knows what he's talking about.
Yep.
So let's get into K-Wellness, because a private members association addresses many issues, among them that issue of privacy. So please give our viewers a description of what K-Wellness is.
Yes, thank you for that. We've done a lot of research in the last few years, obviously, and coming up with solution. And one of these are the concept of a private membership association. It's been around for decades and it's been used very successfully. But basically the breakdown of what a private membership association is, it's a private club that consists of men and women that are able to congregate under the freedom of association. They decide what their association is about. They decide what they're congregating around, the topic or the product. And basically, it doesn't happen in the public, it happens in the private, which means there's a contractual agreement between the members as well as the association representatives. And that's why I'm able to be here, because you're one of our PMA members and you invited me to speak on what the PMA is. Obviously, at this moment, I am part of this as an association representative. It's important to make the distinction between a PMA as well. It's not providing any service or any product to the public. It's only to a private group of members that are having access to either the services or the knowledge that's being shared or the products that are being created. And it's basically the concept. There are certain areas, for example, in the US where alcohol is outlawed, but you've got a little shop that is selling alcohol. Why are they able to do that? Because they are part of a PMA and it's not open to the public. It's only their members that have access to whatever they're selling inside. Basically, Costco is like a PMA as well. You need to sign a contract for you to actually shop at Costco. And because of your membership with them, you get certain discounts and perks for you to be able to gain access to their products. So it's very similar in that sense.
Right. And a private members association, it functions very well under these circumstances because, as I understand it, and I'm not an expert on the law like your husband is, but anything that you agree to as members, between people who might be service providers within the membership and people who are members, as long as it's not breaking the law, you can do it.
Absolutely.
And the government's got nothing to say about it. So this is very important in the context of the loss of your or suspension of your license, in that everything that the CPSO was doing, these were regulations, these were directives, they were mandates, they were not laws. And so if you were to do any of this care, patient records, recommending ivermectin, anything like that within the bounds of a private members association, they have nothing to say about it.